Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's your daily show in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Damon.
I'm Mollie Damon.
And we're from Star Wars Explained, the YouTube channel.
Welcome back, you guys.
Thanks so much.
Talking about minute 53 of Solo, a Star Wars story. Minute 53 starts off with Han telling Beckett and Chewbacca that he thinks it went really well. Really well was the answer. And it ends a minute later with Han telling Kira that Lando has an interesting style.
He certainly does.
How do you got we've been doing a roundup of all the actors in these movies. How do you feel about Kira herself, Emilia Clarke? You a fan?
Love her.
Yeah, I like the character a lot. I do remember some of the clips they released before the movie came out. I thought she felt a little out of place, but within the movie itself, I think she's great.
Was it because Game of Thrones was still really big, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was just me shifting her to another universe. I was having trouble doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
I heard her, she talked about how she doesn't get recognized in public very often because I think everyone recognizes her with the blonde wig as Daenerys. So I feel like she was in one of the Terminator movies and I didn't realize it was her. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the woman from Game of Thrones. So it is funny how take off that wig, unrecognizable. That's like Zooey Deschanel with her bangs. That was going around the other day. That when she puts her bangs to the side, she might as well be an entirely different person. So
that's like a handy superpower to have. Like
yeah. I guess that's what like Clark Kent did with the little
The curl.
That's true. He just moved his bang and he was unrecognizable.
His singular bang. Yeah.
Right.
That's going to change for her, though, as soon as she's in whatever Marvel movie she's about to be in.
Oh, yeah, she's in Secret Invasion, yeah.
Secret Invasion, yeah.
She's just checking off all the fandom boxes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Which, I can't tell if it would be... I mean, I guess that's the way to do it. Obviously, that's the way to do it. But, like, there's a certain appeal to, like, the people who are only known for their one thing from this. You know what I mean? They have a, Wait, there's an appeal to being an actor who's only known for one thing? Well, to a certain extent, there's an appeal to, like, like for example, we were just talking about the Star Trek show that we went to, and like, most of those people, they've done other things, but like, the George Takei and Walter Koenig and William Shatner are all pretty much Star Trek people. And there's a certain appeal to that, to being like, oh, he's a Star Trek person.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Versus like, oh yeah, he was in this and in this and in this, and having somebody kind of exclusive to your one franchise can be kind of neat, I guess. But
I don't know. I always knew William Shatner from Miss Congeniality. So
was he in charge of the Miss America contest or whatever?
Yeah, he was like the host.
Okay.
Now, did you go to Miss Congeniality this year and get his autograph at the?
Yeah, honestly, more people than I thought were going to be there. There were 5 of us in line.
It was
funny
Sandra Bullock had showed up, but whatever. She's busy.
Yeah.
It's
for the
funny
anniversary.
which franchises get conventions and there's been like a dozen Fast and Furious movies. They should probably have a convention at this point, right?
They just show up to car shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have to be like in a parking lot or something.
Yeah.
Well, I was marveling at there's by the time this airs, I think it will have already happened, but there's CroftCon, the Sid and Marty Krofft convention coming up, and I'm interested in what the turnout for that is going to be, what the atmosphere is going to be. There is a certain, I do like the idea of and again, going back to the Star Trek convention was a lot like this, of just there being a set of like a set of expectations. Like, oh, I'm going to this just expecting to see some people from this thing that I like and other people who like this thing that I like, and not, obviously the Comic Cons have turned into a giant craziness, but and Celebration to a certain extent has its own has become a huge beast. But there's a certain like or like CroftCon, or there's a I'm on the mailing list for the Wizard of Oz convention every year, and I'm like, that seems like a neat little thing, that it would be fun to go do that and just see the people who are really into that one thing, and that's all they're there for, and they're not waiting to, there are no new media announcements as far as I can tell. They're just like, they're just out there to celebrate what they like, which was kind of in the original spirit of this. So
it would be funny if you found out actually that like Wizard of Oz fandom, like they really hated all the Gone with the Wind fans and were like, they're like, I can't believe they're going to recast Dorothy in this new movie, and they're all mad about the same stuff.
Right.
You're like, whoa, this is intense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there are deep, because there's movie people versus books people, just like, in a lot of other things. And there's different eras of all of that. Anyway.
Minute 53 of Solo, 53. A Star Wars story.
Yeah.
They go to the lodge where Kira says she thinks there's someone there she thinks might be able to help them with someone with a ship, and they go to I didn't piece it together really that the lodge is on the same planet as
yeah, it's on Vandor.
Mm-hmm.
Vandor, yeah.
I wrote that down, that I'm like, little convenient movie, but okay.
Yeah. Well, because they're on the ship, they're on his yacht. It's kind of like you don't realize that they're already there.
Yeah. I mean, it could be the shorthand of, we're just so used to Star Wars and bouncing around from planet to planet, but it didn't occur to me until doing this minute by minute. It didn't occur to me that the yacht is on the same planet as the Conveyex, and now Fort Ypso, the lodge at Fort Ypso is on the same planet as both of these things. So I don't know. It's
did she know?
Shouldn't be surprising, but it is. I'm like, why is this all on the same planet? And like any other, if you're watching Gone with the Wind, you're like, wait a minute, this is all on the same planet? That's a dumb question, but like for some reason here, it's just like, why are they all on the same planet?
Yeah. Well, it's weird that she knows Lando is there. Does she like? How?
She probably has her ear to the ground.
I guess so.
She probably has people in the fort just to feed her information, like, hey, so-and-so's here, like, just to know what smugglers are around. So she probably would have gone to hire whatever smuggler was there, but it just happened to be Lando.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I do.
She
like
sent the bartender a text and was like, is Lando there today? I really hope he is, because if not, I'm screwed.
If not, we're all out of options.
I would really like I would like them to walk into the lodge at Fort Ypso, and Kira walk up to Boshek and be like, oh, hey, like, what's going on? We need you for a thing. He's like, oh, I'm busy. I got this other one. Why don't you talk to my friend Lando? Like, I want Boshek to be that, like, almost ran in every one of these situations. It's always just,
I would love that.
I know who we should go to, Boshek. And he's like, oh, I'm busy. Go talk to these people.
He is the Pete Best of space adventures.
Yeah, you just keep hearing that Boshek's up to all this amazing stuff, and we never get to see it.
Right, yeah. But really,
you think he's having even better adventures?
Yeah.
You think he's having, I like that way of...
he's too busy to go help with the Death Star or whatever.
Yeah. Or he says he's too busy, but he's really just home kind of binging shows.
It's a like marketing ploy. It's just like, I'm always booked.
Supply and demand.
He's the Tom Selleck to Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. He was like, almost got it.
Right.
So,
but it is interesting that Kira knows Lando. I mean, I guess it makes sense that she knows all the smugglers. So, but
maybe she knows that the Falcon is still there and it's booted, essentially. Right. And she assumes Lando will be there trying to swindle it back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she must have it's implied that she has a very personal relationship with Lando. So, maybe she is keeping more tabs on him than we expected. I don't, I'm not sure how I feel about the prodigious joke in this minute. Where she's like, plus he's got a very prodigious, and then Han Solo's like, all right. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know.
Do you think she's been telling Han about him this entire time? Like, because she's still telling him about Lando as they're walking into this place. And at this point, Han is just like, all right, I get it.
Right.
I think on the way over, she was telling about all the pilots she slept with and why she wasn't choosing them. And now finally they're reading the one that she is choosing. And so that's yeah.
I get the sense, to your point about the prodigious joke, that all of this was Lord and Miller.
Right.
I kind of, especially there's just some weird delivery occasionally that I think feels out of place. It's outside of our minutes, but after the Sabbat game, Lando has this weird line where he's like, yoo-hoo, and he kind of like floats down the steps and he's like, where's my ship? And I'm like, that's a weird take to keep. And I just wonder if they didn't have time to reshoot any of the Fort Ypso stuff.
Well, this is pure Lord and Miller, apparently, Fort Ypso. Like, that's exactly what they were, because they're one of the movies that they were apparently really in the groove with when they were envisioning Solo was McCabe and Mrs. Miller, and this kind of snowy lodge is completely right out of that. So, I would assume that pretty much all of this Fort Ypso stuff is them, but again, we will never know until we get some kind of crazy box set.
Maybe Billy D. Williams was behind a lot of these little jokes, and he was like, "You know what you should say? should make this joke about me, because yeah."
They're like, "We can't say that, Billy. We'll cut it off here."
Right.
What have we here?
But yeah, when we get inside, when we step inside, one of the first things we see is BattleBots.
Can I just rewind for 1 second before we even get inside? It's kind of slightly unusual for Star Wars in that there's a voiceover going on as we see them walking in, which is not something that happens in Star Wars very often, where somewhere...
right. Well, it's not a... It's a sound bridge or is it a J-splice and not a... voiceover implies that we're like, it's like Captain's Log kind of a thing. To bring Star Trek back up. But
she's not talking to us. She's talking to Han.
Right.
Starts as a voiceover and then kind of goes into her actually talking, which is why I think that she's just been talking about Lando the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not complaining about it, just pointing out that it's stylistically, it's
that's a good point.
A more modern thing for Star Wars. So
right.
Anyway, Pete, you were talking about the lodge.
BattleBots.
Yes.
Or what was the other one? What was the other show?
Are you
like
guys
BattleBots?
old enough to remember BattleBots?
I don't think I got that channel.
Comedy Central, when it was early on, used to have shows about robots battling each other.
Yeah.
I do remember the show. I never got to watch it.
Because isn't that where some of the Mythbusters guys got started?
Yeah, I think they definitely worked on that. They did stuff on that. What were the other... Oh boy, there was totally another one. It was like Robot Wars or something like that. But
there's a few different robots fighting shows.
Yeah.
Do you think when we are eventually enslaved by robots, we will be put on trial for war crimes, and they will show BattleBots as like examples of like what were we thinking?
Perhaps.
Think about it.
It could be. Yeah, definitely not something. Oh yeah, we're looking at it. Robot Wars was a robot combat competition. Broadcast on British television from 98 to 2004, so it predates BattleBots, I believe.
6 years of Robot Wars.
Yeah, the Robot Wars. You fought in the Robot Wars?
That's the prequel series to Battlestar Galactica, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I would like that too, though. I would like just all Cylon show, and they're just arguing with each other and fighting.
Not even about big science fiction-y things. They're just arguing about like what to make for dinner or which movie to go to. Or,
right. And it leads into like fights.
Yeah.
Fights,
Well, I'm not sure about the morality of robot fights.
Oh, well, you mean within our universe or within the Star Wars universe?
Well, I mean, at least within our universe, as far as we know, robots don't feel any pain, so that could be our kind of moral. Well, it's not like it's hurting them. But in Star Wars, we know at least one droid feels pain, and so are we supposed to extrapolate from that all droids can feel pain, or did they modify that droid so that when they were torturing it, it would feel pain? We don't know.
I think it depends on how they were built. I don't know why you would make a gonk droid with feet you could burn. Right. That seems counterintuitive to a walking battery, but some droids, I think you would build to have some sort of pain processor. I guess if you don't want your walking battery to walk onto fire, it needs to know to get off of it. So
that's true. If it was a droid who was supplying power to like a some kind of smelting operation or Mustafar, that kind of a thing, it would need to know if it was walking into you'd have to have temperature sensors all over that could be.
But you'd think it could just be alerted rather than actually feeling pain. You know what I mean?
Think,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
Why would you program a droid to scream when it's in pain? That's the weird part.
Well, does C-3PO, what's the consensus? Does C-3PO feel pain? Because we know he's scared of being hurt all the time. But it's not like when his arm is off, he's very blasé about it. He's not like, my arm!
Well, when R2 is putting him back together, he like zaps his foot and he goes, ow, pay attention to what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I think, the more pulled apart 3PO becomes, the more bad puns come out of his mouth if we're talking about the prequels.
That's how he expresses his pain, is by making us suffer with really bad puns.
Oh, what a drag. Yeah.
Oh.
I would definitely turn up the humor, the pun setting on any of Droid I own. You know what I mean? I would want it to read as many puns as possible at all times. So,
but I would also deadpan, if you could turn up the deadpan on it.
Yeah.
So
I want more like a Jerry Lewis type robot.
Oh no, I want. I think that I want it to be dropping these puns, but in a very just kind of matter of fact, like I guess like Marvin the Paranoid Android kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just like a low, almost like a monotone, quiet, like
University
like very funny, but doesn't know how funny it is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the robot I want.
I want a robot that doesn't realize how funny it is and is always craving that validation, so it always has to be making jokes all the time.
Right, yeah.
I don't want my droids to see physical pain. I want
robot.
Yeah, emotional pain more so than anything.
But been handed an update on BattleBots. It was an adaptation of Robot Wars. So the Robot Wars is the British show. BattleBots is the American adaptation of that. And it kind of came and went in various iterations, but it is currently there's a current season. It's currently going on. Season 11 is happening, I think, right about now.
Wow,
horrifying.
And these Robot Wars will never end. And you're right; it's still going on. You're right that
these Robot Wars.
Adam and Jamie from and Grant Imahara each. Adam and Jamie had a robot. Grant Imahara had a robot. They all were all competitors, as was Will Wright, the creator of SimCity and the other Sim games.
Oh,
he was a competitor.
What sort of? This is a question we've asked many of our guests. If you were to own a droid, what kind of droid do you want to own in your day-to-day life?
I want that cook droid from Book of Boba Fett. The one with like all the arms. It was like
that one
really good at chopping.
I got a good BD droid.
You want the BD droid?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Such a little cutie.
Yeah.
Like the cooking droid, I could see having a very practical. I don't know what I would use a BB-8 for. I don't have any plans I need smuggled. I don't have any maps I need smuggled around, so I don't know what else a BB-8 is useful for. But he is cute.
I guess he could scan stuff around the house. Like if something breaks and you don't know what's wrong with it, he'll scan it and tell you. Like, oh,
right. Okay.
Plus, don't forget you could fill them up with coins.
So. I like it. So we go into the Fort Ypso here, and this is basically, I would say, it's the cantina scene of the movie. Every Star Wars movie, as we all know, has one scene where you pack in as many creatures and aliens in it as you can. So. Yeah,
we were talking about that a week or two ago with the party scene. When we first get into the party on Dryden's yacht, we were like, this isn't like cantina-y enough.
No, and that's like Deep Space Nine. Dryden Voss's office is like Deep Space Nine. Huh. This is cantina.
All right.
His office is more like Canto Bay. It's a bunch of rich people just schmoozing each other, and this is a little more dingy.
Yeah. I mean, you do get like Lulio Primock and Arodi Ventifoli. They're pretty cool.
Well, they're paid performers to be there.
Well, you think Figrin Dan and the modal nodes don't get paid?
They do. Right? Wasn't there a whole story about that? What?
I was going to say, I wonder if they, I guess it depends where they're playing. Probably for the cantina they got paid, but I wonder if Jabba pays his minions, or is that just the kind of thing where it's expected that you're going to play for Jabba?
There was a story about Max Rebo that he signed a contract that the band would play for in exchange for all-you-can-eat buffet. And Max Rebo was all about that, and everyone else hated that deal. Droopy McCool was pissed.
With Jabba?
Yeah.
This is with Jabba? Huh, he wouldn't strike me as a contract guy, but I guess you got to protect yourself.
Although, Droopy also seems like an eater. I mean, not to... I don't know.
Droopy McCool is gluten-free, and he just knows that they're not going to accommodate him. He's like...
Yeah, if it was any other cuisine, if Tatooine food, he's not a fan.
I was going to say, because Droopy McCool, like, I don't know what his mouth looks like. It's just a tiny little...
Right.
But also, does Max Rebo even have a mouth? How does he even eat? Is it one of those things with why his arms are up by his, you know what I mean? Is his mouth like in his back or some crazy, crazy thing? Max Rebo. Anyway.
Yes. Well, we first...
so go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we as we walk into the room after we get BattleBots, this is our first encounter with Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian.
Yes.
We see from a distance, we slowly, I think we hear him just right before we see him, because he's finishing up. It's that, I wish I always had the foresight to be able to end a story and an anecdote or something with a good laugh or line anytime somebody was entering the room. Because
you mean like you want it timed in such a way where as soon as someone's walking in, they're hearing the punchline of your story and everyone cracking up.
Right. And he was like, "Oh, how was I supposed to know she was an Imperial spy or something like that?" And then everyone's like, like perfect timing.
Here's what
every time someone enters a room.
Yeah.
You and I are acquaintances. From now on, let's do that. Every time you and I are hanging out together and like another person joins, that's your cue to say, "Oh, I didn't know she was wired for sound," or whatever, and then I'll go and crack up like I've just heard her for the first time. Let's do it. Let's practice.
Good.
Okay. Yes, Lando, played by Donald Glover, right? That's his name, right?
Were you going to say Donald Gleason, or were you going to say?
No, I was thinking of
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover, that's what it was, and I didn't want. I got all flustered for a second that I was going to be racist. So I'm glad I wasn't racist.
Right.
So
it's not Danny. It's not Crispin. It is Donald.
I'm surprised at the number. We've been doing this show for 53 minutes now, and the times where he has come up, people seem to not like his Lando.
What?
Feeling like it's too like caricature and not. He's not playing Lando. He's playing Billy D. Williams playing Lando, as opposed to Alden Ehrenreich, who is playing Han Solo. So,
right,
Alex, you sound like you disagree.
I do disagree. I love him, but that was just. I mean, part of me is just rooting for Donald Glover for a lot of reasons. He grew up like minutes from where we live in Stone Mountain. I also found his like. Just YouTube videos when I was in college, when he was in college, and he was just putting YouTube videos out with his friends. And I always thought that they were funny. So I've been like following his career since the YouTube days. And then like he was on 30 Rock and he was in Community. And I was just like keeping up with this guy. And to see him get success after success has always been fun. So I definitely went into this movie being like, I'm going to love his version of Lando no matter what.
I remember everyone thinking that he was one of the highlights of the movie, and now I'm surprised at this sort of backlash about it. Maybe
I think
maybe
he
got too all right.
I agree. And according to, remember, I've been referring to the tweets by John Kasdan where he was outlining 50 something random things about Solo, and he said was it in here? He was basically saying like, hey, at this point it goes without saying, but Donald was born to play Lando. I remember the thrill of seeing a screen test and the thrill of watching Bob Iger and Alan Horn watch his screen test, and they all knew immediately like, oh, this is going to be great. Like,
yeah.
And I agree. I think that's and they also say, in my opinion, Donald needs to don the cape again, and the sooner the better. So fingers crossed. Let's see what this is being recorded before Celebration 2022, and I think that the focus of Celebration is going to be announcements of new things for to a certain extent, and so we know that there's talk of a Lando series. They said, hey, we're going to do that, but there was never any confirmation that he would be in it or anything like that. So if we can basically make Solo 2 happen as Lando the series, let's do that.
I feel like they need an update on all those 10 projects they announced back at the end of 2020. Like, just give us a quick little, hey, Rogue Squadron, here's where it's at. It's happening. It's not happening. Here's where Lando's at. Like, just a quick little, remember all those things? Like, let's hear about them again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My wish for the Lando show has always been for it to have both Donald Glover and Billy D. Williams, and it would be one of those, like,
Time
Billy
travel.
D. Williams is telling stories, and we cut back to young Lando, and because they could easily film all of Billy D. Williams' stuff in like a day or two for a series like that. I would love to see that.
And he could be
the Calrissian Chronicles.
Yeah. And he could sit down. Yeah, he's just a storyteller now.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly.
The Calrissian Chronicles seems like such a no-brainer. Like, to have him just recounting his tales to Janna or whoever, anyone, and to flashback to what he did as a young man. Like, I think that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's hurry up.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I totally think that that would work, and I really do want them to be more like, again, I was saying this for this movie, that as much as I do really like this movie, I did want it. I was looking a little bit more for like the Han Solo Adventures kind of a story where it doesn't have to be his origin, just give me an early story where stuff is happening, and I think a Lando TV show could be a perfect opportunity for that kind of a thing. Make it like the Lando, Calrissian Chronicles, exactly what we were talking about. Have him show me a mind harp of Sharu.
Show me mind harp.
Yeah.
Ding.
And also we have to do Ari Gross. We can't forget Ari Gross's contribution to the character. Ari Gross is of course the voice of Lando Calrissian in the Return of the Jedi NPR radio drama from 1996 or whatever.
So you want to work him in somehow?
Yeah, let's get him a cameo at some point. Right?
I saw an ad for some convention recently, and they were advertising that they have 5 Boba Fetts.
Wow.
Collect them all.
Yeah, it really does sound like a boast that my neighbor would have made.
I've met all 5 of them.
All 5 of the living Boba Fetts you've met? The Church of the Living Boba Fetts. Well, speaking of iconic legends, this minute, and Peter, this is who I thought you were building up to. This is the minute where we see Therm Scissor Punch for the first time.
I wrote him down too.
Yeah. Well, I had him written. We get a good kind of view of him for tomorrow. So I had written him down for tomorrow. But let's not delay the Scissor Punch if we don't need to.
Scissor Punch, and then Argus Panox.
Yeah.
Old Six Eyes. Which I remember he was in something that they released early on for this movie. Like it was like a clip of him, and it was like, it's a fully animatronic headpiece, and it is very impressive looking. And I just think it's really, really cool.
That was a he was both the cause of when I first saw him, I was like, oh, we don't need more CGI creatures. And then once I found out that it was at Celebration, being in that auditorium and seeing Neil Scanlon bring out the head, bring me the head of Six Eyes, and he, just brought it out, and it was like he was put it on the table, and it's looking around, and it's fully I got my sense of wonder for the Star Wars kind of special effects and all that again. I'm like, oh man, this is sorcery again. Hooray. Like, because it fooled me back into thinking that it was computer generated, which, it was like a double blind, but happy to see him here, because now every time I see him, it fills me with wonder. I'm like, did you see that? That's a real thing.
Yeah. I did find a StarWars.com article about it, and it said The head weighed 8 pounds. It contained 50 servo motors and had a special gyroscopic rig designed and programmed, which allowed the eyes to retract to the actor's head movements and like return naturally to their resting position. So like each little eye had their own little movements that it could do. It's crazy.
Wow.
It was amazing and terrifying to watch it, live.
The fact that they're super impressed by the Six Eyes, and I was with Pete when we saw that, and all this, it just makes me more disappointed that we have not had an alien main character. Like, if Six Eyes can walk around and interact with people in real space, why was there not an alien member of the main gang? Like, why is he not front and center doing cool stuff? It seems like they spend a huge amount of time and energy building these characters that you see for 4 seconds on screen. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad to see as many aliens as possible, but
sure,
I feel like they need to, like, let's bring them to the forefront.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, we haven't met L3 yet, but I will say L3 is one of the favorite parts of this movie for me, and I love that they were able to get Phoebe Waller-Bridge to physically perform her just in a green screen suit underneath all that.
Yeah.
A lot of impressive stuff in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So much to do a making of.
Really? They should. There's I feel like we've said this before, but there's the original trilogy is very much, the practical effects, because that's all there were at the time. And then the sequel trilogy became kind of, known to be just, purely, especially Attack of the Clones. It was like only existed in a computer, more or less. It was all green screen stuff. There were some exceptions. People always like to point out the exceptions to that. Be like, no, look, see, there was a model of this. I'm like, okay. But a large part of the effects were CG. And then to get that where we are now, where there's a balance, use all the tools in your toolbox, you know what I mean? Using that, like, we'll use like the L3 suit, where it's just like, well, it's mainly a physical performance, which with actual things there, or K2SO, same deal, where it's like, there's somebody there doing the performance, and we're using computers to enhance that. Rio,
I guess, is like that.
Right, yeah.
There was a puppeteer on stage.
Right, which, I mean, so was, Jar Jar and the Camino and stuff like that. But like, using all the tools together to make a good thing. I remember the Fury Road was a good thing for that. Everybody was like, it's like, oh, see, like, this is, you don't need CG to make a movie. And then people are just like, well, look at all this. And they showed like the effects, team doing like so much of the add-ons of the, it was a seamless blend of practical and CG, which is where you get believable again. So I'm happy that we're here. All of us. I'm happy that we're here talking about Star Wars.
Well, does anyone else have anything else to say about Minute 53? Well, we're all feeling positive and happy.
I have a question, but it can keep until tomorrow.
Okay. All right, then. I guess on that note, we'll wrap up minute number 53. And hey, if you need more podcasts to listen to, why don't you go to moviesbyminutes.com? There you can find, what are we up to, 250 different podcasts that break down movies by minutes. It's crazy.
It's not quite yet. 200 and something.
All right, well, in that case, get out there and start your own Movies by Minutes podcast. We're trying to get to 250. So yes, go to moviesbyminutes.com, see which movie has not been done yet, or see a movie someone else has done, and you're like, you know what, I could do it better, as long as it's not Star Wars.
Yeah, don't do Star
Wars. We'll see you guys tomorrow on another Star Wars Minute.
Another Star Wars Minute.